The emergency signal screamed across every communication channel in the Empire. High Command Admiral stood frozen before the holographic display, his 6 eyes blinking in disbelief. The words that appeared on the screen made his blood run cold. A human battleship had crossed the border. It was now inside their territory. Not a small scout ship, not a damaged vessel seeking repairs. A fully armed human battleship was moving through their space like it owned every star system it passed. Had served the Empire for 300 cycles. He had fought in 17 wars. He had watched civilizations rise and fall, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. The humans were supposed to be a young species. They had only discovered faster-than-light travel 200 years ago. They were supposed to be primitive. They were supposed to be weak. Every intelligence report had said the same thing. Humans were soft creatures from a small blue planet. They lived short lives. They broke easily. They were nothing special. Those reports were written by fools. The battleship was called the Prometheus. It was 3 kilometers long. Its hull was black as the void between stars. Sensors could barely track it. The ship moved through space with a grace that seemed impossible for something so massive. It did not slow down when it crossed the border. It did not respond to any hails. It simply kept moving forward deeper and deeper into Imperial territory. Grand Minister called an emergency council meeting within the hour. The most powerful leaders of the Empire gathered in the Crystal Chamber. Their faces showed fear. Their voices trembled when they spoke. Nobody wanted to say what everyone was thinking. Nobody wanted to admit the terrible truth. The humans had sent a message, and that message was clear. We can reach you whenever we want. We can go wherever we please. Your borders mean nothing to us. The council demanded answers. How did the ship get past the defense grid? The defense grid had 10,000 automated weapons platforms. It had been built over 2 centuries. It was supposed to be impossible to breach. Admiral looked at the sensor data and felt his heart sink. The human ship had not destroyed the defense grid. It had not disabled it. It had simply passed through it like the grid was not even there. The weapons had fired. The missiles had launched. Nothing had touched the Prometheus. The ship had some kind of energy shield that absorbed everything. The most powerful weapons in the Empire had done nothing more than scratch its surface. Commander was the first to suggest negotiation. Perhaps the humans wanted to talk. Perhaps this was a diplomatic mission. Perhaps there was a reasonable explanation. The council agreed to try. They sent their fastest diplomatic vessel to intercept the Prometheus. They sent their most skilled negotiator, Ambassador. She was famous for ending wars with words alone. She had convinced the collective to surrender without a single battle. She was their best hope. Ambassador approached the human ship with her hands open in the universal sign of peace. She broadcast greetings in every known language. She waited for a response. The Prometheus remained silent. Its weapons did not power up. Its shields did not strengthen. It simply continued on its path, followed alongside it, continuing her attempts at communication. For 3 hours she tried everything. She offered trade agreements. She offered territorial concessions. She offered technology exchanges. The human ship gave her nothing but silence. Then something happened that changed everything. A small shuttle launched from the Prometheus. It was barely larger than a personal transport. Watched it approach with a mix of hope and terror. The shuttle docked with her diplomatic vessel. The airlock hissed open, and a single human stepped inside. Had seen images of humans before. She had studied their biology. She had prepared herself for this meeting, but nothing could have prepared her for the reality. The human was tall. Its eyes were forward-facing like a predator. Its movements were smooth and controlled like a creature that hunted for survival. It wore a simple black uniform with a single symbol on the chest. The symbol showed a bird rising from flames. The human smiled at her and understood in that moment why her ancestors had feared the dark. The human introduced himself as Captain Stone. His voice was calm and steady. He spoke perfect, though he had never been taught the language. He explained that the Prometheus was not there to start a war. It was there to end one. Felt confusion wash over her. What war? The Empire was not at war with Earth. They had never even met a human before today. Captain Stone sat down across from her. He placed a small device on the table between them. The device projected a holographic image. The image showed a planet, a green and blue world covered in oceans and forests. It was beautiful. It was peaceful. It was also burning. Warships filled the sky above it. Soldiers marched through its cities. The people of that world screamed as they died. Recognized the planet immediately. It was VII, a small world on the edge of imperial territory. The Empire had conquered it 50 years ago. The natives had been primitive. They had posed no threat. They had been enslaved to work in the Empire's mining operations. It was a routine conquest. It happened all the time. It was not supposed to matter. Captain Stone explained the truth. The people of VII were not primitive. They were an ancient species that had chosen to live simply. They had watched the stars for millions of years. They had friends among those stars, and some of those friends were human. The humans had not known about the conquest for decades. They had not asked for help. They were proud. They believed they could survive on their own. They were wrong. When the humans finally learned what had happened, they were not pleased. Asked what the humans wanted. Captain Stone smiled again. That smile held no warmth. It held no kindness. It was the smile of something that had stopped being afraid long ago. The humans wanted the people freed. They wanted the mining operations ended. They wanted the Imperial forces withdrawn from the planet. They wanted compensation paid to every survivor, and they wanted it done within 30 standard days. The ambassador argued that such demands were impossible. The council would never agree. The Empire did not negotiate with lesser species. The Empire did not surrender territory it had rightfully conquered. The Empire was the greatest power in the galaxy. It would not bow to a single ship from a species it had never even heard of. Captain Stone nodded slowly. He had expected that response. He stood up and walked back toward his shuttle. Before he left, he said one final thing. He said that the Prometheus was not alone. He said that humanity had 12,000 ships just like it. He said that Earth had been watching the galaxy for a very long time. He said that humans did not start wars, but they always finished them. The shuttle returned to the Prometheus. The great black ship changed course. It headed directly toward the Imperial capital world. Admiral ordered the entire fleet to intercept it. 300 warships converged on the Prometheus. They surrounded it from every angle. They charged their weapons. They prepared to destroy the invader once and for all. The battle lasted 4 minutes. When it was over, the entire Imperial fleet was floating debris. The Prometheus had not taken a single point of damage. Its weapons were beyond anything the Empire had ever seen. Energy beams that cut through shields like paper, missiles that could change direction instantly, point defense systems that shot down every projectile before it got close. The human ship was not just more advanced. It was from a different age of warfare entirely. The council met again that night. Their voices no longer trembled with fear. They screamed with it. Grand Minister demanded to know how this was possible. He demanded to know why no one had warned them. He demanded to know what they were supposed to do now. Admiral had no answers. Nobody did. The next morning, the Empire received a second message. It came from Earth itself. It was broadcast on every frequency in the galaxy. The message was simple. Humanity had been watching. Humanity had been waiting. Humanity had hoped that the elder species of the galaxy would learn to be kind. They had hoped that the strong would protect the weak. They had hoped that peace would spread among the stars. They had been disappointed too many times. The conquest of VII was the final mistake. Humanity was done hopping. The message listed every crime the Empire had committed. It listed every species they had enslaved. It listed every world they had destroyed. It listed every atrocity they had hidden. The list was long. The list was complete. The humans had known everything. They had recorded everything. They had been patient, but their patience had ended. The Prometheus reached the capital world on the 29th day. It did not fire a single shot. It did not need to. The council had already voted to accept every human demand. The people would be freed. The mining operations would end. Compensation would be paid. The Empire would change its ways, not because it wanted to, but because it had no choice. Captain Stone stood on the bridge of his ship and watched the capital world spin below him. His crew waited in silence. They had done what they came to do. They had reminded the galaxy of something important. They had reminded everyone that power was not the same as strength. They had reminded everyone that cruelty always had a price. And they had reminded everyone that humanity never forgot its friends. The Prometheus turned away from the capital. It headed back toward the border, back toward Earth, back toward home. Behind it, the Empire would never be the same. Its people would tell stories about this day for generations. They would tell stories about the black ship that came from nowhere. They would tell stories about the species that should have been weak but was not. They would tell stories about the humans who had changed everything with a single question. What kind of species would cross the galaxy to save people who were not even their own? The answer was simple. The answer was terrifying. The answer was humanity. And the galaxy would never underestimate them again.